There is a place within each of us where strength begins. It is not a place others can see. It is not dressed in titles or measured by applause. It is quiet, it is still, but it is powerful. That place is the mind. And if you can master it, if you can shape it, calm it, and train it, you will become a force the world cannot overlook. Many people wait for circumstances to change before they believe in themselves. They wait for someone to validate their voice, their value, their vision. But those who rise, those who last, they do not wait. They do not ask for permission to believe in who they are. They decide, and in that decision, they begin to shape a power that no storm can shake. I have known struggle. I have seen what it means to stand alone with only your thoughts to keep you company. And I tell you this, it is there, in that place of isolation and silence, where your strength must rise first. If you cannot be powerful when no one is watching, you will not be powerful when the eyes of the world are on you. Your strength must begin where there is no stage, no microphone, and no crowd. Because when the mind is strong, no noise can shake it, and no silence can break it. There is a discipline in guarding your thoughts, a dignity in choosing courage over despair again and again, even when despair has more evidence on its side. When life throws its weight at you, loss, rejection, failure, it is tempting to believe those things define your worth. But they do not. The truth is, those are the moments that shape your greatness. The struggle is not your enemy. It is the test that prepares you for the weight of your own potential. Every negative thought that rises in your mind is a visitor. And like all visitors, it has the power to leave. If you do not offer it a home, fear will visit, let it knock, but do not let it unpack. Doubt will whisper, hear it, but do not answer. You must become a guardian of your thoughts, because the world outside you will always try to reflect the chaos within you. But if you are calm, if you are rooted, if you are clear, then no matter the noise, your spirit will stand still. You see, the most powerful people are not those who have never felt fear. They are those who have faced it and chosen to keep walking. Their minds are not free from pain. They have simply learned that pain is not the end. It is part of the path. So when negative feelings come, and they will do not run from them, stand and meet them. Ask them what they came to teach you. Then keep walking. There is something remarkable that happens when you learn to carry yourself with certainty, even when the ground is uncertain. The world begins to move differently around you, not because it has changed, but because you have. You begin to see possibilities where others see only obstacles. You begin to speak calmly where others shout in fear. And without demanding it, you command attention, not from arrogance, but from clarity. That is the power of the mind made whole. Do not underestimate the strength it takes to keep going when the odds are against you. That is the highest form of courage, to continue even when no one believes, even when you barely believe yourself. That is the seed of something the world cannot ignore. And if you keep going long enough, that seed grows into something undeniable. It is not easy, I will never tell you it is, but it is simple. You choose each day to return to that quiet place inside of you. You choose to build a foundation there, and from that foundation you begin to rise, not with noise, but with substance. Not with flash, but with fire. The ones who truly shape the world are not those who shout the loudest. They are those who have conquered the most within themselves. When your mentality is disciplined, when your inner world is aligned with truth and purpose, then even in silence you will be felt. Even in stillness you will be seen. And when that happens, when your mindset becomes unshakable, your presence alone will begin to speak for you. And the world, whether it is ready or not, will have no choice but to listen. Be so powerful in mind they can't ignore you. Adversity, my friends, is not the punishment we believe it to be. It is not the curse we so often cry out against. It is something else entirely. It is a mirror. And when we dare to look into it, not turn away from it or cover it up, we begin to see who we really are. Not who we pretend to be, not who the world expects us to be, but the raw, unshaped version of ourselves waiting to be formed by struggle. You see, we often ask life, why me? We ask, why must I go through this? We look at the pain, at the disappointments, at the betrayals, and think they are signs that we are weak, that we are forgotten, that we are broken. But that is not the truth. The truth is that adversity has always been the training ground for strength. It does not come to destroy you. It comes to reveal you, to show you what you are made of when all comfort is stripped away. When you are pushed to the edge, you discover your roots. You find out how deep your conviction runs. You find out if you really believe in what you say you stand for, because anyone can appear strong when the sun is shining. But when the storm comes, and it will come, that is when the real test begins. That is when the mirror is placed before you, and it asks, who are you really? There is something sacred in struggle, if you are willing to see it that way. Because adversity does not just show you your wounds, it shows you your will. And when you recognize that, when you stop seeing adversity as your enemy and start seeing it as your teacher, something changes inside you. You stop running from pain, you stop fearing failure. You begin to understand that each setback is not a wall but a doorway, and you walk through it not with bitterness, but with determination. Some of the most powerful breakthroughs in life are born in the middle of the hardest seasons. You may not see it while you are in the storm, but every scar you carry holds a story of survival. Every tear you've shed is proof that you are still here, still fighting, still choosing to stand. Do not ever let anyone tell you that survival is not strength. That endurance is not power. To stand in the fire and refuse to be consumed, that is the definition of courage. And yes, it will hurt. Yes, there will be days when you question whether you can go on. But I tell you, those are the moments that matter most. Because when you keep going, not because it's easy, but because you must, because your purpose demands it, that is when the world begins to change around you. That is when you begin to shape not just your destiny, but the destiny of others who are watching, silently praying that someone like you will rise. People are not inspired by perfection. They are inspired by resilience. They are moved by the person who fell down 100 times and still got up one more. That is the kind of power adversity creates, if you let it. If you do not allow it to turn you bitter, if you do not allow it to define your limits, adversity becomes the tool that sharpens your edge, the pressure that creates your strength. You see, when you start to understand adversity as a mirror, it becomes less about what happened to you and more about what is happening in you. And what is happening in you is transformation. You are learning. You are stretching. You are growing into someone who is not just successful, but unbreakable. And that kind of growth, quiet, deep, often invisible to the outside world, is the kind of growth that lasts. It is easy to wish for a life without struggle, but what kind of power could be born from that? What kind of truth could come from comfort alone? No, we do not seek suffering. But when it finds us, as it surely will, we face it, not because we enjoy pain, but because we know who we are becoming through it. So when adversity comes and it places that mirror before you, look into it. Look deep, and instead of asking, why me, ask, what can I learn? Who can I become because of this? That shift, that one question, can change everything. Let your struggle speak not of your weakness, but of your rising. Let it reveal your fire, not your fear. And when you emerge on the other side, do not be surprised when the world begins to take notice. Not because you shouted, not because you demanded attention, but because who you've become cannot be ignored. Let adversity reveal the power they never saw coming. There will come a moment in your life, maybe more than once, when you will be asked to stand while your legs are trembling. When your voice quivers, your heart is unsure, and everything in you wants to sit down, to step back, to disappear. That moment is not a test of your talent or your intelligence or your charm. It is a test of your spirit, a test of whether you will stand even when you are shaking. So many people believe that courage is about fearlessness, that the brave are the ones who feel no doubt. That is not the truth. Real courage is standing in the face of fear, not in the absence of it. It is choosing to walk forward while your mind screams to run. It is the quiet decision to act, even as your hands tremble and your heart races. We wait too long for confidence to arrive before we begin. We tell ourselves we will act once we feel ready, once the fear subsides, once the path is clear. But I must tell you, the path rarely becomes clear before you begin walking it. The fear does not fade until you move through it. Waiting for strength to appear before you stand is like waiting for the fire to warm you before you light it. You must act. You must rise. The strength comes after. There is something powerful about the human spirit when it decides not to yield, not because the road is smooth, but precisely because it is not. When life pushes against you with all its force, when the loss cuts deep, when the betrayal stings, when your dreams lie shattered at your feet, those are the moments that call you to stand, not tall, not proud. Just stand, that is enough, that is victory. I know what it feels like to be broken. I know what it means to feel like the weight is too much. And I also know what it means to rise with that weight still on your shoulders. To take one more step, even when the ground beneath you is unsure. That kind of resilience does not shout. It does not boast, but it echoes. It is heard in the silence. It is seen in your eyes when you choose to begin again. To overcome negative feelings, you cannot wait for the world to be kind. You cannot wait for everyone to understand you. You cannot wait for the pain to leave. What you must do is move through the fog with hands outstretched, with faith that the ground will hold. You must stand, not because you feel strong, but because you know you were not meant to fall forever. We all stumble, but we were not made to stay down. Let me tell you something that may be hard to accept. Fear never fully leaves you, not if you are truly living. Every new challenge, every new dream, every step into the unknown will bring some measure of doubt. That is the price of growth. That is the cost of becoming someone the world cannot ignore. But what changes is your relationship with fear. What changes is your response. You learn that fear is not a command. It is only a suggestion, and you do not have to follow it. You do not overcome negative feelings by pretending they do not exist. You overcome them by refusing to give them power they do not deserve. You feel them, you face them, and then you walk past them. You remind yourself that feelings are real, but they are not always right. You remember that bravery is not a gift, but a choice, one that must be made again and again. And when you do stand, when you gather yourself in the midst of your uncertainty and move anyway, something remarkable begins to happen. Slowly, without warning, the fear begins to lose its grip. Your steps grow steadier, your voice grows stronger, and then one day you realize you are no longer shaking. But that day does not come unless you first choose to stand while trembling. Others will see the strength in you that you tried so long to hide. They will not know the full weight you carried, but they will feel the power in your presence, not because you were never afraid, but because you were brave enough to keep going despite it. So when fear comes, when the doubts surround you, when your knees are weak and your spirit weary, remember this. You do not need to be fearless to move forward. You simply need to take the step anyway. Stand even when you are shaking. There is a moment in every person's life when the world grows quiet, not because there is peace, but because you are left alone with your truth. No applause, no affirmation, no audience. Just you, and in that moment, your voice must become louder than the noise of doubt, louder than the silence of being overlooked. Because if you do not speak for yourself, if you do not rise with your own voice, the world will write your story for you. You see, too many people wait for the world to recognize them before they believe in their worth. They wait for an invitation to lead, for a spotlight to prove they matter. But real power does not wait for permission. It speaks before it is heard. It stands before it is welcomed. If you want to be so powerful they can't ignore you, then you must first become undeniable to yourself. And that begins by finding your voice and using it, even when it trembles. You do not need a crowd to start. You do not need validation to speak. You do not need to be celebrated to stand firm in what you know to be right. There will be times when your truth will cost you comfort. It may cost you relationships. It may cost you acceptance. But do not trade your voice for approval. Do not silence your truth for the sake of peace that is not real. The world does not change because people whisper in safety. It changes because someone chooses to speak, even when their voice shakes. It changes because someone rises up, not with arrogance, not with violence, but with clarity, with dignity, with conviction. Your voice was not given to you to echo what others say. It was given to create, to challenge, to build, to heal, and it is never too small if you are willing to use it. Many of us have been told to stay quiet, to stay humble, to not make others uncomfortable. But humility does not mean silence. Humility is not shrinking so others can feel tall. True humility is knowing who you are, standing in it, and serving others from a place of strength, not silence. There is nothing noble in hiding your light so others won't squint. Shine anyway, speak anyway, be kind, yes, but be clear, be rooted. Finding your voice is not just about what you say, it's about how you live. It's the choices you make when no one is watching. It's the way you carry yourself when everything seems uncertain. It's the quiet confidence of someone who knows they belong, not because someone told them so, but because they decided to believe it for themselves. And when you live like that, your life becomes a message. Your presence becomes a voice. There are those who will not want you to rise, not because you are wrong, but because your rising threatens their comfort. Do not let that stop you. The moment you begin to speak your truth and walk in your purpose, you will face resistance. That is not failure. That is confirmation. It means your voice matters. It means your presence is making a sound in places where silence once ruled. And when the pressure comes, and it will do not fold, do not hide. Keep speaking. Keep moving. Keep being exactly who you were called to be. Because the world does not need more echoes. It needs more originals. And an original voice, grounded in truth, strengthened by struggle, and guided by purpose, cannot be ignored for long. There will be days when you feel unheard, days when your efforts seem invisible, but do not let that make you question your impact. Every act of courage, every word of truth, every time you choose integrity over approval, you are planting seed. And those seeds grow, even if you cannot yet see them. So do not let the absence of noise make you think you are not being felt. Do not let the silence convince you that your voice has no power. Speak, even if your voice shakes. Move, even if your steps are small. And know that in doing so, you are becoming the kind of presence that does not need to demand attention, because it commands respect. Be so rooted in your voice, your truth, your purpose, that the world has no choice but to adjust to your presence. Be the voice they can't silence.